Ladies and gentlemen, gather close. Let's talk about the arrogance of those who play with fire and then act shocked when they get burned. They took you for granted. You see, they treated your kindness as if it were infinite, your patience as if it were endless. They had the nerve to think that after all they had done, you would still stand there, loyal, waiting, never questioning, never leaving. They didn't just take advantage of your heart, they suffocated it with their cruelty. And when you finally walked away, they had the audacity to act surprised, to look at you with confusion, as if they didn't know that this day would come. But here's the truth they never wanted to face. You are not the fool they thought you were. You are not the one who lost in this game. No, they are the ones who lost, and they will never know the price of the damage they inflicted on you. They were so drunk on their own power, so intoxicated by the thought that you would never leave, that they pushed you to your breaking point. They thought they could destroy you and still have you in their grasp. But they didn't understand one thing. You are made of something stronger than they ever realized. You were never the weak one. You were never the one who needed saving. You were the one giving everything, pouring your soul into a bottomless pit, expecting nothing in return. But all they did was take, until there was nothing left but the hollow echo of your love and your loyalty. Do you know how it feels to be tested, to be pushed beyond your limits, to have every ounce of your strength drained away, until you're left with nothing but the emptiness they created in you? That's the game they played. They knew how much you loved them, how much you cared, and they used that as a weapon. Every word they said, every promise they made, was just another tool to manipulate you, to bend you to their will, to make you believe that the abuse was somehow your fault. They gaslighted you into thinking you were the problem, that you were the one who couldn't handle the love they claimed to give. But you weren't the one who failed. You were the one who kept trying when no one else would. And then came the moment when you finally realized the truth, the moment when you saw, through the lies, the manipulation, the abuse, the moment when you decided that enough was enough. You looked at the wreckage they had left behind, and you saw yourself for the first time in a long time. You saw the strength you had been hiding all this time. You saw the person they tried to break, the person they thought they could control. And you saw that you were still standing. That's when it hit them. You weren't going to stay. But here's the thing about abusers. They never learn. They never see the damage they've done until it's too late. They only see the end result, the aftermath of their own destruction, and they think that somehow, some way, you will come back. They don't understand that when you leave for good. There's no going back. There's no second chance. They don't get to apologize their way out of the pain they've caused. They don't get to sweet talk you into forgetting the scars they've left on your soul. They had the nerve to think you would stay after all that abuse, after everything they put you through, after every insult, every cruel word, every broken promise, every betrayal. They thought you would be there, waiting with open arms, ready to forgive them. But you didn't. And that's when they realized something they had never considered before. You are not their doormat. You are not their punching bag. You are not the person they can walk all over and still expect love in return. You are not someone they can abuse, belittle, and discard without consequences. You are someone with a voice, someone with power, someone who deserves respect, someone who has the strength to walk away, even when it hurts. They tried to break you. They tried to make you doubt your worth. They tried to make you think you were nothing without them. They tried to make you believe you were worthless, that no one else would ever love you, that you needed them to survive. But you proved them wrong. You showed them that you don't need anyone who doesn't respect you. You showed them that you are enough, just as you are. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't need their love. You have your own. You have your own strength, and that's the hardest pill for them to swallow. They thought they could break you. They thought they could make you so small, so insignificant, that you would beg for scraps of affection, that you would beg for the love they so freely gave to themselves while giving you nothing. But when you walked away, when you left them behind, they were faced with a reality they didn't know how to handle. They had nothing left to take from you. They had nothing left to use. They had lost the one thing that gave them power, you. So let them cry. Let them beg. Let them do whatever it takes to try to win you back. Because it won't work. The damage they've done is irreversible. The lies they've told are too deep to undo. They had the chance to treat you right, but they chose to abuse your love, to twist it, to manipulate it, and now they have to face the consequences of their actions. The consequences are you walking away. The consequences are you finding your worth, your power, your strength without them. The consequences are you moving on, becoming the person you were always meant to be, without the weight of their abuse dragging you down. The truth is, they never thought you would leave. They never thought you would have the courage, the strength, the audacity to walk away from the toxic web they wove around you. But you did. You had the strength to break free from the chains they tried to bind you with. And that's the moment they lost. Because you are not their backup plan. You are not their second option. You are not their safety net when everything else falls apart. You are not someone to be used and discarded. You are someone who deserves more. You are someone who deserves the world. And once you realize that, once you understand your worth, there's no going back. There's no going back to the lies, the manipulation, the abuse. There's no going back to being a shadow of yourself. They will never understand what they lost. They will never understand how much they took from you. But that's not your problem. It's theirs. They will live with the consequences of their actions, and they will never find peace, knowing that they pushed away the one person who would have loved them unconditionally. They will always be haunted by the ghost of the person they destroyed, the person who was too strong to stay and let them continue to hurt them. And so, as you move on, as you rise from the ashes of the abuse they inflicted on you, remember this: you are stronger than they ever thought you were. You are more capable, more resilient, more powerful than they could ever comprehend. And as for them, they will always be the ones who got burned, the ones who thought they could play with fire and walk away unscathed. But fire always leaves scars, and they will bear those scars for the rest of their lives. So, don't look back. Don't second guess yourself. Don't wonder if you made the right choice. You did. You made the only choice that mattered. You chose yourself. You chose freedom. You chose strength. And no matter what they say, no matter how many times they try to worm their way back into your life, you know the truth. You are worth more than they could ever offer, and they will never be able to take that from you. You walked away not because you were weak, but because you were strong enough to walk away from everything that tried to destroy you. You walked away because you knew your worth. You walked away because you knew that no one, not even them, had the right to treat you like that. And in that, you found your power. They had the nerve to think you'd stay after all that abuse. They underestimated you in the most brutal of ways. They saw your kindness, your generosity, your loyalty, and they thought it was something they could manipulate. They thought it was something they could take without ever having to give back. They thought your heart was a well that would never run dry, your patience an infinite river that would never run out. And when they finally pushed you beyond your limits, when they bled you dry, they stood there in shock, expecting you to stay, expecting you to keep putting up with their lies, their deceit, their cruelty, expecting you to forgive the unforgivable. But they forgot one thing: your strength. See, they didn't know what you were truly made of. They didn't understand that there is a limit to everything. They didn't realize that even the most loving, the most patient person can only be pushed so far before they realize their worth. They didn't see that in you, did they? They didn't see the quiet strength that was building within you, growing with every insult, with every betrayal, with every broken promise. They thought they could break you, control you, use you. But the truth is, they didn't break you, they built you. With every ounce of pain they inflicted, you were building walls, building strength, building the courage to walk away. And when you did, they were stunned, shocked, bewildered, and angry. Angry that they couldn't break you. Angry that you saw through their lies and left. But the only person they should be angry with is themselves, because they had no idea how much you had to endure before you finally snapped. They had no clue about the amount of pain you kept inside, the amount of love you kept giving, even when they weren't worthy of it. They didn't know what it felt like to wake up every day, drained, worn out, not knowing if you could make it through another round of their games. They didn't see the hours you spent crying in silence, hoping that things would get better, that they would change, that their love would somehow come back to you. But that's the thing about abusive relationships. They don't change, not unless the abuser wants to change. And if they haven't changed yet, they won't. They won't, because they're not interested in healing. They're interested in control. They're interested in making you believe that you need them, that you can't survive without them. But here's the cold, hard truth. You can't. And the moment you realize that, truly realize that, was the moment everything shifted. It was the moment you found yourself, the moment you looked into the mirror and saw the person staring back at you, the person you had been neglecting for so long. It was the moment you saw your worth for the first time, not through their eyes, but through your own. And let me tell you something. When you see your own worth, nothing, no one, not even the one who tried to tear you down, can take that away from you. It's easy to forget your worth when you're constantly being told that you're not good enough. It's easy to believe that you deserve the abuse when the person who's supposed to love you is the one hurting you. But when you finally see that you're not the problem, that the abuse, the manipulation, the cruelty, it wasn't you, it changes everything. It's like a switch is flipped. You stop begging for crumbs of affection. You stop apologizing for things that weren't your fault. You stop believing that their love was something you had to earn. Because now you know that love is not a commodity to be earned. It is a right, a fundamental need. You don't need to earn love. You deserve it by simply existing. You deserve love because you are worthy of it, regardless of what anyone else tells you. The truth is, they never thought you would leave. They thought they had you, that you were too weak to walk away, that their abuse was something you would just put up with. They thought they could control you, use you, manipulate you, and you would stay. But you didn't. And that's when they realized how deeply they had misjudged you. They realized that they had pushed you too far, that they had underestimated your strength. They thought that by wearing you down, by breaking your spirit, they could own you, that they could make you a prisoner in your own life. But you weren't their prisoner. You never were. You were simply someone who believed in them, someone who loved them with all your heart, someone who wanted to fix things, to make them better, to heal the wounds they couldn't see. But they didn't want to be healed. They didn't want to change. They just wanted to keep taking from you until there was nothing left. And when they saw that you weren't going to stay, that you weren't going to take their abuse anymore, that's when they panicked. That's when they tried to make you feel guilty, tried to make you believe that you were the one in the wrong. But you weren't. You were the one who woke up. You were the one who saw the light. You were the one who found the strength to walk away from the chains they tried to wrap around you. Walking away from someone who you thought you would spend your life with is not easy. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that comes without a fight, without tears, without regret. But it is something you will never regret. Because when you finally free yourself from the toxicity, when you finally free yourself from the weight of their manipulation, you realize something powerful. You realize that you are worthy of more. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of love that lifts you up, not drags you down. You are worthy of a life where you don't have to hide who you are, where you don't have to apologize for simply existing. So let them cry, let them beg, let them try to twist the story, to make themselves the victim, to play the games they played before. Because you know the truth. And the truth is, you are better off without them. The truth is, they never loved you the way you loved them. The truth is, they never deserved you. They never deserved your loyalty, your devotion, your care. They didn't deserve the best parts of you. They took those parts and used them against you. They drained you. And now, you're finally free. Now, you can begin to rebuild. You can begin to heal. You can start focusing on yourself again. You can start finding the pieces of yourself that you lost along the way. The ones that got buried under the weight of their abuse. The ones that got lost in the endless cycle of giving, 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 without receiving anything in return. Now, you get to give to yourself. You get to rediscover your passions, your dreams, your hopes. You get to be the person you were always meant to be, without the shadows of their manipulation clouding your vision. This is your time. This is your moment to shine. This is your chance to step into the light and leave the darkness behind. You don't need them. You never did. You are enough, just as you are. And once you realize that, once you truly believe it, there is no going back. There is no place for them in your life anymore. They had their chance. They blew it. And now, they have to live with the consequences. But you have a future ahead of you. A future that is filled with possibility, with growth, with happiness. You don't need them to find that. You already have everything you need inside of you. You have the strength, the courage, the resilience, and now you have the freedom to build the life you deserve. So don't look back. Don't wonder if you made the right choice. You know you did. You know that walking away was the best thing you could have done for yourself. You know that by leaving them behind, you opened up a world of opportunities, a world where you can truly thrive. And when you finally look back, you won't see them as the person who got away. You'll see them as the person who was never meant to be in your life. You'll see them as a lesson in strength, a lesson in knowing your worth, a lesson in never, ever accepting less than you deserve. They had the nerve to think you'd stay after all that abuse, but you proved them wrong. You proved that you were stronger than they ever imagined. You proved that no one, not even them, can define your worth. You proved that you have the strength to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. And that is the greatest power of all. The truth about abuse is that it doesn't just break you in a moment. It chips away at you over time, slowly, until one day you wake up and wonder who you even are. Who have you become after years of sacrificing your own happiness for someone else's needs, for someone else's toxic behavior? It's like being submerged underwater, drowning but always trying to swim to the surface, believing that you'll catch your breath, that things will get better, that if you just keep trying, you'll finally reach the shore. But there is no shore. There is no escape, at least not as long as you keep swimming in that same toxic water. And at some point, you have to recognize that no matter how many times you reach out, no matter how many times you try to make them understand, you can't change them. The only person you can change is yourself. It's often said that we teach others how to treat us. And it's true, isn't it? We allow people into our lives and we show them the boundaries, or the lack of boundaries, that we set for ourselves. We tell them with every action, with every word, how much we are willing to tolerate. We set the tone for how we allow others to treat us. And for so long, you may have been willing to tolerate more than any person should. You may have allowed them to walk all over you, to manipulate you, to drain you, because you believed somewhere deep inside that love was supposed to hurt, that relationships meant sacrifice, that if you just gave enough, if you just loved enough, if you just stuck it out long enough, everything would be okay. But the truth is, real love doesn't cost you your soul. Real love doesn't break you. Real love builds you up, not tears you down. And if you've been in a relationship where you have been broken, emotionally drained, and left feeling empty, then it was never love. It was a manipulation, a twisted version of what love is meant to be, disguised as care, disguised as affection. But in reality, it was a game where you were never meant to win. They thought you were weak because you cried. They thought you were weak because you cared. They thought you were weak because you stayed, because you kept hoping, because you believed in them. But that wasn't weakness, that was strength. It took an enormous amount of strength to stay with someone who continuously hurt you, to keep giving your love to someone who didn't appreciate it, to keep believing that things would get better when all signs pointed to the opposite. And yet, that belief in them, that hope you held on to with everything you had, it kept you going. It kept you fighting for something that wasn't even fighting for you. But the moment you realized you couldn't save them, the moment you saw that they were only dragging you down, the moment you finally understood that you were losing yourself in the process, that was the moment you found your true strength. Because, let me be clear, leaving is not the act of someone who is weak. Leaving is the act of someone who finally understands that they deserve better. Walking away is an act of incredible strength, of incredible self-respect, because it takes a monumental shift in perspective to realize that staying is no longer an option. Walking away from someone who you once believed was your everything, walking away from someone who you thought you could never live without, it's the most difficult thing you will ever do, but it is also the most liberating, because when you walk away, you are choosing to love yourself. You are choosing to put your needs first. You are choosing to heal and grow and move on from the wreckage they left behind. It's easy to get stuck in the mindset that if you just love hard enough, if you just give enough, you can fix them. But the truth is, they are not broken in the way you think they are. They don't need fixing. They need to take accountability for their actions. They need to want to change, to grow, to heal themselves before they can be in any kind of healthy relationship. And if they refuse to do that, then they will only continue to hurt you. Because you cannot heal someone who does not want to heal themselves. And that's where the shift happens. That's where you realize that you are not responsible for their happiness. You are not responsible for their pain. You are not responsible for their healing. The only person you are responsible for is yourself. And once you accept that, once you embrace that truth, there is no going back. Leaving does not mean you have failed. It does not mean that you were too weak to fix them. It means you had the courage to finally say, enough is enough. It means you had the courage to look at the relationship with clear eyes, without the cloud of guilt and shame and fear that they instilled in you. It means you had the courage to see them for who they truly were, their flaws, their cruelty, their selfishness, and make the decision that you would no longer allow that kind of treatment in your life. And now, you're standing at the crossroads of your life. You are standing at the edge of freedom, and the road ahead is yours to take. There will be moments of doubt, moments when you question yourself, moments when you wonder if you made the right choice. There will be moments when the loneliness creeps in, when you miss the familiar, even if that familiar was toxic. But you have to remember this: you are not alone. You are not weak. You are not incomplete. You are whole. You are worthy. You are enough. The journey ahead will not always be easy. Healing is a process, and it takes time. There will be moments of pain, moments of grief, as you mourn the person you thought they were, the person you thought you were going to spend your life with. But do not let that grief define you. Do not let it hold you hostage in the past. Allow yourself to feel the pain, but do not allow it to control you. Allow yourself to grieve, but do not let it keep you stuck. You have to remember that you are not the sum of what they did to you. You are not the product of their abuse. You are the person who walked away. You are the person who chose to reclaim your power. You are the person who chose to heal, to move forward, to create a life that was filled with love, respect, and peace. Something that you were never going to find in them. When you look in the mirror now, I want you to see someone strong. I want you to see someone who has been through hell and is still standing. I want you to see someone who has been broken and pieced themselves back together. I want you to see someone who is worthy of love, not the kind of love that breaks you down, but the kind of love that builds you up. You are worthy of a love that lifts you, that supports you, that cherishes you. You are worthy of a love that values you, that respects you, and most importantly, a love that recognizes your worth without any doubt. The abuse they subjected you to, it was never your fault. It was never something you deserved. You did nothing wrong by loving them, by caring for them, by hoping they would change. But the moment you saw that they would not change, the moment you saw that they were dragging you down into the depths with them, that was the moment you did something powerful. You chose yourself. You chose to walk away. You chose to no longer allow their abuse to dictate your life. You chose to reclaim your peace. And now, that peace is yours. Hold on to it. Cherish it. You've earned it. No one can take that away from you. They may try. They may reach out. May try to manipulate you into thinking they've changed, into thinking they are sorry. But don't let their apologies fool you. Don't let their promises fool you. Actions speak louder than words, and the actions they showed you, the cruelty, the manipulation, the betrayal, speak far louder than anything they say now. You are worth so much more than what they gave you. You are worth more than their neglect, their gaslighting, their abuse. You are worth more than the crumbs of affection they threw your way when it suited them. You are worth more than the pain they put you through. And the moment you realize that, the moment you believe it with every fiber of your being, is the moment you reclaim your life. The road ahead is yours. And as you walk it, know that you are stronger than you ever realized. Know that you are capable of achieving greatness. Know that you are worthy of love, of respect, and of happiness. In conclusion, do not look back. Do not regret your decision. Do not second guess your strength. You did the hardest thing you could ever do. You chose yourself. You walked away. You broke free from the chains they put around you. And now, your life is yours again. It is time for you to heal, to grow, and to thrive. You're not defined by the abuse you suffered. You're defined by your strength, your courage, and your resilience. You are free, and that is more powerful than anything they ever tried to take from you.